figure like Batman, Superman, that only exist in pages of cartoon books. In the book of Luke chapter 4, Jesus, we are still talking about identity. We have not entered into the faculties of identity. We are still making a claim that your relevance in a generation and your possibility of actualizing your ordination is tied to a very clear understanding of your identity. And just like they came to John the Baptist and asked him, who are you? That's the first question. And the second question is, what do you see of yourself? So there are two questions here. Who are you? Please help me ask your neighbor, who are you? First, by calling his name, it means the name is his father gave him in Damaturu. When they gave birth to him, he doesn't exist. Who are you is the first question. And then, what do you see of yourself? That's the revelation you receive about yourself by yourself. Meanwhile, who are you is where you are in the general scheme of things. What is your identity within the locus of God's agenda in your generation? What is your identity within that framework? See, John knew who he was, what he said of himself, but he did not know who he was within the framework of God's agenda for his generation. And that led to partial fulfillment of ordination. Many of us do not understand that the one that called us is immortal. Let me tell you the implication of that. Every time God gave a project like the Ark of Noah. Are you still here? You are not here? Anytime God gave a project like the Ark of Noah, that project, he gave dimensions on how it should be constructed. That this is 22 cubits, this is 12 cubits, this is 9 cubits, this is 8 cubits. Oh, someone might ask, what if we put 23 cubits where God says 22? The immortal will not accept it. That's how terrible it is to serve God. But it's not just activity. It is precision. There is something that God wants done that will give him glory. If it is not that thing, he will still call another person. And your whole adventure will be a failed mission and an expenditure of resources to no avail. He will still be looking for somebody that will give him 22 cubits. Now, is there any precision in your labor? Is it true? The encounter God gave you, was it tangible? Because he's a father to all. Was it tangible? Was it significant to shape your perspective as to the kind of labors he's expecting your life to prosecute? Meanwhile, the wise men have given us a little insight. And what the wise men said, when I say the wise men, I'm talking about men like Watchman Nee that served God with their life. And you can hear those kind of people. Not Nigerian preachers that are amorphous, like our Moeba. Shapeless. There's a preacher like that. In the last 6 years, he has changed titles. He started out as an evangelist, he became a pastor. Then 3 years later, he changed the title, he became... okay, what is he bearing now? He's prophet now. But he had mutated. And we think he's God, he's serving. The God of the Bible is a God of precision. When John was called, John operated in the capacity of an apostle and a discipler. And he brought very powerful insights. I don't have time to show you the revelations of John, the revelations of Brother John, Apostle John. No time. I would have shown you that Paul mentioned this word 2 times. Peter mentioned this word 1 time. John mentioned it 12 times. That means it's John that has the revelation for. I would have given you that statistics to show you how deep that John was. A time came into John's life that he was outlawed. He was cast out to Patmos, a place where they kept prisoners away from civilization, prisoners that they couldn't deal with in the city. If you kill them in the city, they'll become martyrs, and people will fight you with their life. John had gained that level of stature, that reputation. So John wasn't a man that could be killed, that there will not be riot. So the way to deal with John, he was a colossus. He was the last witness, living witness of Jesus, that saw Jesus with his eyes. Everything will rise or stand with the witness of John. And the only way to kill Christianity, according to them, was to ostracize John, put him on an island. Let there be no transportation that will bring John from that island to the cities where God has sent him to. Don't kill him, because if you do, we'll have. Just let him die outside of civilization. So that was the sentence that they gave John. And when John alighted to the Isle of Patmos, the first encounter he had with Jesus. Meanwhile, if anybody knew Jesus, it was John, because he was that disciple that Jesus loved. And he said it in his book, that me, Jesus, I was the one that he loved most. I don't know how the others felt when he made that statement, but he was bold enough to